Welcome up to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
Doing our super special Christmas episode as usual, which is never that special.
Well, never really any...
Actually, they were a little bit more special back in the day. So.
I think it was just... I think back before, because we had to really get across it was Christmas, and it just happens to be an episode we do during Christmas times. We just... What'd you do? Oh, Christmas shit. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, before it's like, oh, okay, we'll watch Jingle All the Way, we're doing something like that, but you know.
Before we get too much into that, I actually got Spencer a Christmas present. And what it was is, it's basically a pinup of Nedry from Jurassic Park.
But a sexy pinup.
Yeah. It's kind of like it has the zebra stripe background. He's fully clothed, thank God. But he also has like this, look like he has a soda cannon in his hand. He's basically in the same exact pose the girl is on like his window on his computer screen. And I was just walking out of... I got this at the Balboa Theater, which is the independent movie theater I always go to in my neighborhood. And they always have like a couple of just like independent prints of local artists. So, or local artists, independent artists like prints and whatnot. So, I saw this, like, holy fuck, I know Spencer's gonna like this. This will make a perfect Christmas gift. So, I got it for him, and I just want to give the person a shout out. Her name is Emma Munger. And I didn't realize that she has a website, emmamunger.com. And it was one of those things, like, once I actually clicked on it, I'm like, oh my god, I actually kind of know this person. Not, like, super well, but I sort of already know her. But she has a lot of great, she's a really great artist, and she has a lot of funny, like, pinups of different characters from Jurassic Park, as well as other shows and movies. And some that aren't even, like, meant to be pinups, that are just actually just really good artwork. So... check her out. Really good artwork.
Yeah, that's a sweet picture. I can't wait to make other folks jealous when they come over.
There's one of, like a lot of people are like, first they're going to, people who don't know Jurassic Park that well, like, is that Newman?
Well, also, it would look kind of, if you didn't know who that was, it'd be like, why do you have a sexy fat man picture on your wall? Like, if you didn't know what it was, and yeah, I guess somebody might go if that's Newman too. But most if you know Newman, you know Nedry.
Yeah,
it goes hand in hand.
Well, I was just flipping through them, and they had one of Allie, they had one of Alan Grant, and they had one of
Dr. Wong.
Is that his name, Dr.
No, B.D. Wong's his name. It's Dr. Wu.
Dr. Wu.
I was combining the actual actor and the character together.
That one of Dr. Wu. Dr. Wu was funny just because he's like in a scientist outfit, but it's like kind of a mocking of that sunscreen thing, like a raptor.
Yeah, the copper tone, whatever. Like the little girl.
The raptor is like bites his pants, revealing his ass, and he has this looks like ooh, while he's like working on something. So.
And then I thought the Ian Malcolm one was pretty hilarious too, because he's just there like with his shirt off, where he's all like cut up. Just looking all sexy.
Spread out, and I think it said something about chaos theory. I don't remember what, but I remember the Samuel Jackson one had him all like stretched out, arms behind his head.
Computer chair or something like that, I think it was.
And it said like, hold on to your butts.
It's fucking hilarious.
And one of like Muldoon just like squatting down with his legs kind of like, stretched out, looking behind him. And it's this clever girl like right above his ass. So yeah, it's pretty. They're
pretty hilarious,
pretty funny prints. And there's also some Frasier stuff and Bond girl stuff and beyond that. Yeah, so check her out when you can. And that was emmamunger.com.
Yeah, super simple, easy to remember. Yeah. A lot of M's and U's to put in there.
Yeah. Beyond that, though, I'm just kind of up for the holidays and just trying to cram in as much Christmas cheer last minute, because it's one of those things lately. It's been kind of like when you get older, it's just kind of like, oh, it's Christmas time. You're like, oh fuck, it's literally like tomorrow,
Yeah, well, when you're a kid, it's the biggest deal known to mankind. And this is what I think it all comes down to. Because when you're a kid, once again, you're lucky if you're making $5, or at least back in the day, making $5 a month. Probably nowadays, a kid's average wage maybe is $15 to $20 a month. I'd probably assume due to inflation. But when we were kids, $5 was kind of like the going rate. $5 was, if you made $5 a week, dude, you were fucking rolling.
Well, I was like, for a while, when I was, there's that period before you're almost, the concept of allowance you don't really understand as much, and then your parents teach you like, all right, well, pick up the dog shit, take out the trash.
No, don't eat it.
Yeah, don't eat it. It looks so much like chocolate, Mom. Right? It's not. I understand. You got a weight problem. We get it. Don't, please. No, but it's one of those things like, so it almost take 6 whole months to save up for a video game. So second one, Christmas,
it would take fucking forever. That's when used games, when I discovered that was like the golden fucking thing. It was like, oh my god, I could get a brand new Mission Impossible copy for like $20. Well, that only takes like 1 month to save up to instead of 2.5. You know, it's like the greatest thing ever.
So Christmas was that time, like, all right, here you are for the year. You know,
here you go. Here's what's gonna cover you. You know, for quite some time.
And then you got and then there might be the 1 or 2 cool, really awesome gifts for your birthday. You know what I mean? From your folks, that is. You know, so that, but
But birthday also mostly involved, like, you'd have your buddies come over, so they might get a game that you kind of wanted, or an action figure or something like that.
Yeah.
So you had that, but that was kind of like what it was. That's why I think that's why those things were so important, because when you get kind of older, you're like,
I don't know. Yeah, when
it's like your birthday, it's like, don't remind me. And then when it gets to Christmas, people always ask, like, well, what do you want? It's like, I don't need anything. Don't need anything.
And like it's one of those. It's like it goes both ways, kind of, because I'm like, I really don't want anything for Christmas. I can't really think. I mean, there's some stuff that that'd be cool to have, but I would feel legitimately bad asking for that. You know.
Well, for me too, it's like I kind of go like, I have money. I can buy anything I want. Realistically, there's nothing that, like, you know what I mean. Like, I can get anything I need. You know what I mean. If I want a game, I just slap down some money on somebody. You know, if I wanted like something new that was a little bit bigger, like a new computer, I just slap some money down on somebody. That's not like when you were a kid, when there was like, oh my god, this is the only way I'm going to be able to get a PlayStation, you know? Is if I put all my bets on the Christmas.
Yeah, so it's like whenever someone does like get me like something really, ever since probably like high school, that's kind of where I started feeling bad about that kind of thing. Whenever somebody does, because by that point in high school, it's like, oh, I'm actually have a paycheck now, you know? But,
yeah, it's like the second you kind of start making money, it's just the idea of like, it's like, oh, it's not necessary. I mean, it's, you know, I always feel like little gifts. You know, that's what you give. Just give something small. But the idea of like anything extraordinary, it's like,
and then you'll ask, you know, your folks or whoever, like, what do you want? Like, don't get us anything. It's like a 2-way street of people that don't want to get something for you, but you don't want anything for yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, then I feel like I'd rather have my parents actually not give me anything and have me get them something. If that makes more sense.
No, I get
you. It's like I almost feel it's like the giving back. It's like it rotates.
Yeah. I totally got my folks something this year, and they told me not to. But it's like, you know, whatever, you know.
But
like you said, it's kind of like their turn, I think.
Other than that, though, it's like, just in recent times, it's just I keep seeing all these sales. It's like my like weakness is like sales to like either comic books or video games and movies. You know, to the point where I feel like I almost have sort of a problem for the fact that, and this has gone on for many of years, but I realize that I have so much more content that I have any time to fucking watch. Like, unless I get fucking Tom Hanks dropped off on an island and all of a sudden a couple FedEx boxes loaded with all my shit that has yet to be played, watched, and so on, and I got some solar power to keep me company, like, there is no way I'm ever going to go through, like, not even like half, not even a third of this stuff I have. I think about that sometimes.
That's what
I'm going to die knowing that I'd never finished some certain things.
That's when a volleyball floats the shore. Like, I don't need this shit. Kick that away.
Fucking drop kick it back into the ocean.
No one wants you, Wilson.
Yeah, I got fucking Wilson the game here on PlayStation that I've yet to play.
It's a Steam sale.
But it's just like, yeah, it's like the PlayStation sale and the Xbox sale. Thank God at least the Nintendo never really has that great of sales.
Thank God Nintendo's just a bunch of cheap bastards.
They really are. Like, I always take a look at the Nintendo sale, I'm like, why is there like almost never anything on sale?
Because they're Nintendo, they know they can do it.
We know you're just gonna pay $60. Get used to it.
It's kind of funny. I went to go see Rogue One with my folks, and my dad hardly ever goes to the movie theater, but he was willing to go to see Rogue One. And, you know, we're at that point where they have, like, you know, commercials, not just movies, but commercials playing at the theater. And there's one for, like, Super Mario Run. He looks at me, he's like, that shit's still around?
I like how it takes you down by surprise, too. Like, he has to look left and right like he's still in the right world. Like, he didn't fucking just take the red pill last night.
Yeah. Well, how, like, she's like, yeah, I think it is one of those things when you're older, like, from older generations, like, what happened? You got too old and you just moved on to the next fucking thing. Now it's like, this shit's here to stay, you know?
Well, I think that is true. That's almost like the difference between, like, our generation and almost like our parents' generation. Is that it's like, no, you go through phases of life. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You start off as a boy, and you play with toys, then you become like a teenager, and you got a bicycle, and you got a job in the factory. Yeah, then you go to war, then you come back and you raise a family, and then you have to put up with realizing why 30 years later there's still Super Mario content.
Yeah, why the fuck are they still watching these cartoons? And granted, these ones swear now, but still.
It's actually kind of funny because, like, on that Super Mario Run, I want to say I saw an article that said the Nintendo's stock actually kind of dropped from that one. And I think it's just due to the fact that it's like, it's one of those ones, I know what it's made for. It's made to be one of those games like, oh, fuck, I got like 5 minutes to kill. Okay, jump. Ah, fuck. Okay, jump, get some coins, go. And I think that's what it's supposed to be. It's not meant to be like, oh, sit down and fucking get 120 stars.
Well, I love Mario, but nothing about that game jumped out to me. No pun intended. Nothing about that game jumped out to me and really grabbed my attention. I'm just like, oh, so it's like new Super Mario Brothers, only you're running constantly and you have to tap to jump.
Yeah, if you
There's another game called Mario Typing. It was kind of similar.
Yeah, but actually had more like creativity put into it. Well, that's the thing. It's like new Super Mario Brothers is already kind of to me like the most dumbed down version of Mario. Not saying it's not fun, but it definitely is just like let's make Mario as simplistic as possible for the future. They found a way to make it even simpler.
Well, my thing about like new Super Mario Brothers, originally I was so excited because it seemed like years since we got a side-scrolling Mario game.
Mm-hmm.
And then like they got new Super Mario Brothers for Wii for the Wii.
Regular Wii.
And it was just like, oh fuck, they're still going on. And then like, they came out, then they just
next year 6
I don't
more
know
later.
how many they have now. There's so many now.
Well, let's see, there was the new Super Mario Brothers for DS, new Super Mario for Wii, new Super Mario for Wii U, new Super Mario Brothers 2 for 3DS.
I have that one. Yeah.
New Super Mario Brothers 3D Land for 3DS, and new
Luigi.
Super Mario Brothers World for 3DS.
And
then there's the Luigi bonus. That was more like an expansion pack.
But it was still its own separate game that you could just play as Luigi and not Mario.
I guess that's true. Mine came together all in one, but
Yeah. So it's like, I guess it was kind of like the Red Dead Redemption, like
Undead Nightmare.
Yeah.
I love that. Such a good. I know it's like I keep seeing it like on Xbox One. I'm like, dude, I should fucking play that again.
Yeah.
Like, sounds weird. Like, I would almost go back and play Undead Nightmare more than even Red Dead Redemption. That to me is like, hands down, probably the best DLC I've ever seen in my entire life.
Well, the thing about it, I think, is it actually felt like you got your bang for your buck, and you could actually. I think it was one of the few times. I mean, not later down the line, you're not too worried, but like how bullets were currency after a while.
Yeah.
And that whole thing it actually gave you like one of the few like fear. Like only 2 games I think that actually made me kind of worried about like, oh shit, I'm actually kind of low on ammo. Was actually 4 or 3 when I think about it. Like Resident Evil 4 because that's the only Resident Evil game I've really played the whole way through. Undead Nightmare, and then Last of Us.
Oh, yeah.
Only 3 games where I felt kind of like, okay, I got enough bullets to get through this area, but I can't like throw them away like candy or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the thing about Undead Nightmare, I mean, nowadays it's kind of like you fucking throw a stone and every game's got like their zombie version of something or another. But at that time period, that wasn't really like, that was kind of almost like a brand new concept,
Mm-hmm.
Call of Duty might have had their oh no, they think they had their zombies in World War II on Call of Duty 5 by that point. But still, the idea of having, like, take your regular game and then make a zombies mode was kind of rare. But to top it off, the thing that made Undead Nightmare so cool was, like, that was actually one of the best survival horror games I had ever played. And it gave me a feeling that I've never gotten any other game. Resident Evil's never gave it. Last of Us has never given it. Nothing else of that sort has given me, like, that same kind of eerie feel you have of being out there in the Wild West on your horse, and then all of a sudden, fucking bunch of zombies come running after you, and you're like, oh, what the fuck?
It was one of those things that you could, like, you didn't want to you didn't want to, like, be off your horse too long walking out there, because zombies could just run after you, or like a zombie cougar or some shit, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So there's just so much cool stuff like that, but, man, I don't know what it was. Those sales, though, for PlayStation and everything, I'm just fucking making it rain to, like, PlayStation and Steam and Xbox not so much, but still. It's there to... I guess to the point where, like, PlayStation goes, hey, you spent so much money. Here's $15. Spend some more! No, stop it. I don't need more. A flash sale? Why is there a flash sale on top of a holiday sale? Are you crazy?
It's like Hotel California. You can check in, but you can check in, but never check out.
Well, it's like one game I got...
Is that the fucking line? You can come in, but you can never leave? Whatever the fuck. I hate that
Yeah.
song.
Yeah, well, it's actually one of the many songs, like, if you didn't hear it very much at the time, you're like, that's a great song. But when it's been played a billion times, and...
I've come to the conclusion, I'm like the dude, I don't really like the Eagles. I like Joe Walsh.
I really fucking hate the Eagles!
My favorite thing is, like, it's some angry black dude who loves the Eagles. Like, get the fuck out!
He, like, pulls them out of the taxi cab, throws them on the side.
No, but, like, I mean, you got, like, Desperado. Beyond that, I'm just kind of like, oh, no more Eagles. Shit.
But I got this game.
Yeah,
I think
back to the game.
you would actually really dig it. And if you were able to buy it on PlayStation, you should get it. It's pretty sweet. And this is one of the games I've known about for a while. It's been out for DS, 3DS for maybe like maybe over a year, somewhere around there. But that's sometimes how these kind of indie games go. They can be out for a long time, but it's not like other video games where you're like, oh yeah, been there, done that, played that. Sometimes those ones can sit for a while, and then they start building up kind of steam.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, that's almost like a pun on the title. The game's called Steam World Heist.
I think I've heard about it.
See, yeah, it's one of those ones you've heard about. Like, I've known about for a while, and I didn't pay too much attention to it. It's like, it's on 3DS, whatever, you know.
So the side-scrolling one, and you have like a grappling hook, you're kind of sneaking around, kind of?
No, it's not that at all. What it is side-scrolling, sort of, but it's turn-based, like Final Fantasy Tactics.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an RPG, and it's got kind of this cool concept. It's like almost like way in the future when robots all leave Earth after the humans have been dead for a while. Mm-hmm. There's like different types of robots. You got kind of like the Steam bots, which are all kind of like your liberal, free-fighting, good people who run off steam. And then you got the Republican robots, which all run off diesel, and they're pretty much like the neo-Nazis of the future.
Are they basically, they distinguish them as the Republican bots?
Yeah, they kind of make them like Republican Nazi bots,
okay,
in a sense.
They come in riding in elephants and all that kind of shit?
Yeah, close enough. Well, there's no animals or anything in this. I think
Robot elephant.
Yeah, it's all robots, but yeah. They are definitely the ones that are like super empowered. They're like the Empire from Star Wars. Mm-hmm. And it's got this cool thing to it, because not only is it robots in space, but picture robots in space mixed with Western and pirate elements.
That sounds pretty cool.
So what you do is, like, you do your missions or whatever, and it plays out just like Final Fantasy Tactics, except for it's side-scrolling. And you land on, like, a ship, and the ships are always kind of, like, randomly generated, so you can't really, even if it's the same mission, it's still going to be sort of differently located. Mm-hmm. And you go inside there, and you raid these other ships, and, you fight off other pirates or kind of cowboy-like people. And, you just grab loot and everything. It's a real simple concept, mm-hmm. And then you leave, and then you kind of continue on. There's a little story going on and everything like that. And this is one of these games, this is actually what really sold me on the concept. I pulled out, I think it must have just came out on the Wii U. Maybe it came out on the PS4 not too long ago, too. Is because it was in the last Nintendo Force, which is like literally the best video game magazine known to mankind. In all my years of reading every magazine, this one trumps them all by far. Mm-hmm. But they had that game in there for a review, and it got a fucking 10 out of 10. I was like, holy fuck, 10 out of 10. I gotta start looking into this. I'll just wait till it goes on sale, and then it was on sale for $7.99. I'm like, fucking A, throw some money.
I'll probably check that out when I get home, because it actually does sound interesting.
It's just like
sci-fi western with pirates.
Sci-fi western with pirates, and then like robots in space, and yeah, you get all these cool characters and things like that. And as I said, it's kind of like a simple concept, but it's just super fun. And then, they even got things like, you got your guns, and since it's all side-scrolling, you take your different turns, you go back and forth, but, you can, like, ricochet bullets, like, off the walls to get these cool shots where it's like, hit up, down, left, right, and then it comes in and hits the guy in the back of the head or something like that.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Like, it's totally cool. I'll have to just show it to you when we're done this podcast, because I was just really impressed at it. And as I said, like, if it just came out in Nintendo Force, it must not have been out for that long on the consoles. Now, 3DS, I know it's been out for a while, but yeah, fucking amazing. You know what I mean? It's weird. More and more, those are the games I seem to look more forward to than anything else lots of times. I enjoy more. Let me rephrase that, because I don't really necessarily look forward to them, because I don't know about them, and then all of a sudden they just show up on my doorstep.
Yeah, it's kind of like I want to get that Horizon Zero Dawn, or that game is. It looks cool, but
oh, is that the Sony game?
It's like post-apocalyptic, and it's like it looks like you're kind of like doing a lot of hunting, but all animals have been replaced with robots by this point, and robots are trying to hunt down humans. That game looks really cool. I'm probably gonna, before I throw down. I am at this age. I am also a lot more cautious. Like, I just won't throw down like $60 and let's see what fucking happens. Now I am way more of a cheap bastard. Like, how did it do? Do other people I know like it?
Yeah.
Without going too much into this again, without going into IGN. So. Well,
for me, it's like this is the double-edged sword to all that. Is when you get on Amazon Prime. I know I always talk about this. If you got Amazon Prime and you got the fucking Amazon Prime card and all that good stuff, it's like...
Let's just come to the Amazon podcast.
Wait, we are technically sponsored by Amazon, so if you do want to like purchase anything off Amazon, use one of our links either on the podcast description or on our website at oldmanorange.com. Sends us a little something our way without taking anything from you extra. But going back to Amazon though, it's like it really is like one of the... They fucking like... They just rape the shit out of like GameStop, Walmart, Best Buy, anybody else who's selling video games. It's like, how can you compete with this? This is such a fucking good deal. You pre-order a game or you buy it in the first week off Amazon, you get 25% off. That's fucking $15 off a $60 game. And you can get it off like the super special edition one. So if you bought a game for $120, like one of those ones, you get fucking $30 off. So this is what happens to me. It's like I go with a game. It's like, well, fuck. Even if it's a game that's like, well, I did kind of want to get it. It's not like I have to get it day one. That really makes me go like, fuck, I need to get it day one now. Because here's the thing. Even if I want to play in 2 months, it's not going to be that fucking cheap.
I can say right now, folks, believe me, there is not a gun pointed to his head making him say this. This is all
legitimate. You know what I mean?
You think someone like with an Amazon like shirt is like, fucking say it.
It's just like, dude, it's just that good of a deal. It's like one of those ones. And it blows my mind when people still go out and buy games in the retail and go to GameStop and spend their $60
My thing is, the reason I still go to retail is just because even though I live in a place where I readily have the internet available now, way more than I did before, I still have this situation where people can just like, if I have a package coming, they just drop it right on my stoop, and I have there's a crazy homeless lady lives down the road that lives on the street, and she just kind of goes by checking the stoops and just starts grabbing like whatever.
Yeah.
So if I've had a T-shirt go missing, nothing too big, but I've had like a T-shirt like go missing that way. So I'm at the point now where just like, fuck it. I mean, I could probably throw down money for a PO box, but
yeah. I was like, too bad they didn't put a lock on your thing like they do at like some apartment buildings,
or just like a little slot to slide whatever into.
Because every apartment I've ever been at, they've always kind of had like generally a lock. Either that, or you'd get you'd go pull the packages up from like behind the office area. But the postman has his master key, and then everybody has their own like one. But
don't work that way. It's literally just leaving it right on the doorstep.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. I mean that's one reason right there. But for the most part, though, it's like God, you get the $15 off. Like I went out, fuck life. I'm going to pre-order Resident Evil 7. You know what? God damn it. Does the game look that good? No, but it's the only Resident Evil we're probably going to get in 2 years, so.
Well, I guess think about Resident Evil 7 for a second. I mean, this is granted, this is for someone who's not a diehard Resident Evil fan, but it does look like the more I saw of it, it looks more like you actually can fight back. There is guns.
Yeah, that's what I saw. I saw that there's guns, and since it is technically a continuation of the story, it's not like they're rebooting it or doing anything goofy like that.
It's just first person.
It keeps me interested.
I think is the only thing that really bothers you is it's first person.
No, that actually is like the least bothering.
Is it the Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing about it?
Mainly to me is this is what I just hope it's not, because I full on really. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that somebody else can't like these type of games, but to me, I really do not like those type of survival horror games. Like Outlast, where you just sit there and just take punishment from enemies and you can't do anything about like, ow, he's hitting me with an axe, I can't do anything, this is supposed to be scary. That's not fucking scary, that's just obnoxious and annoying. Like, I do not like those kind of games. Now, I'm not saying anything against Outlast. If you like that kind of stuff, cool. I just don't want to, like, hunker around in fucking lockers all day long, hopefully hoping this guy's gonna leave.
I feel like ever since PT, it's kind of started something. I mean, there's always been, like, survival horror games with psychological elements. I don't remember what the name was. I think the game may have been Faust or something like that. But there was I saw like this 7-minute preview of this game where you're inside of a house. It looks a lot like PT. You're walking around. Mm-hmm. Things are slightly changing. You'll go in the room. All the lights go out. TV comes on. There's the single eye. Like a ghost appears for a second. Just that kind of like jump scare type shit. And there's little subtle things, and like you'll walk around a corner and you'll see like a foot like of a dead little girl walk by. Like I'm kind of getting to that point where I'm really tired of all like these. I mean, I get it. They're trying to evoke a certain emotion. I guess they're doing it, but I'm getting to that point where I'm getting really tired of like a lot of these first person like survival horror games where it's just the thing is that not very many of them have even come out yet. These are all just like Outlast is one of them, I guess.
Yeah, it's been out for a couple of years.
But I mean, I guess these ones that are way more, I guess, psychological in some aspect. Like
the psychological part doesn't bother me because that reminds me of like, did you ever play back on GameCube fucking oh jeez, what the heck was that game called?
Well, I mean, like, all right, like Alan Wake or whatever.
No, that's like Xbox 360.
No, that was on. Oh yeah, you're right. That was.
Yeah.
Well, no, but there was. I'm just saying because they have a lot of these games now where it's like it's focusing a lot more on these psychological aspects, and it's a haunted house, and you're just trying to basically. It's kind of like the PT demo. I played that, and yeah, it was scary, but it was more of just
fucking retarded. It was like. I just started playing like, boy, is this not fun at all? Just walking through rooms. What's in this room? What's in this room?
Oh, jump scare. Keep on going.
Yeah, to me, it's like. I know it is. I just don't like when the fun's taken out of the game. And not saying it's like, I'm all into horror and survival horror, but I just don't like that, like, in a sense, either one, you just always have to run away. I mean, if there's a moment where you have to run away, fine, but That, and then the other thing I always kind of hate in games, I hate things that are like one-hit kills, or this enemy cannot be killed whatsoever. You know, I look at, here's a perfect example of having something that, this does bother some people, but Nemesis in Resident Evil 3. The thing about Nemesis in Resident Evil 3, yeah, he's kind of that unstoppable enemy, and you probably should run away from him most of the times, but at the end of the day, if you did want to sit there and just shoot the living daylights out of him, you could always take him down. Now, obviously, he comes back, but the thing was, you could stop him at that moment. You always could stop him at that moment. Was it always worth doing it? Not so much, unless you want to collect those magical gun parts that gives you the best gun later in the game. But still, for the most part, you could take him down. You know, where something like Outlast, you can't. You just sit there and just get hit in the face with an axe until you finally die.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care if people go, oh, well, you know, they're not, that guy in Outlast is not trained at all. I'm like, he's not going to sit there and just get, like, his dick slapped around until he dies. You know what I mean? Like,
I just imagine just Pyramid Head coming in, like, pull down your pants. What? Pull down your pants. Just slapping his dick.
Like, oh, stop it, Pyramid Head. Yeah, you fucking like that bitch. You know, well, it's even
cold,
Silent Hill.
dead, clammy hands just slapping your fucking dick.
In Silent Hill, you can always shoot everything if you want to. Mm-hmm. Even though the one thing about Silent Hill, this is the thing that's, whenever I play a Silent Hill game, you kind of realize that most things can't kill you in that game. And the second that you know that, you're like, oh, well, it's just like...
Like they're just so weak you can kill them easily? Or is
no,
it
it's like just because like
Resident
looking? Evil, the thing that makes Resident Evil so much, I think, this is why I always thought Resident Evil was much scarier and things like that, is everything can fucking kill you. That dog comes out of the corner, he's going to jump on you and fucking bite your throat out. That zombie comes by, he's going to grab you and rape you on the ground. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's out to get you. In Silent Hill, a lot of things are just meant to be scary, and then you realize that, oh, they can't grab you, they won't jump on you. They're not, you know, some things will, but for the most part, a lot of things don't, so it's like, oh, I just keep going.
So it's just like, it's ugly, kill it! Like that?
Yeah, it almost is. Or it's like, it's ugly, just run past it, because it can't get you.
They're just like, we're the town welcoming committee! Oh, get the fuck away! Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah. So it's like that, or you just run past it because there's no necessary reason to. That's the thing, though. It's like, I hope with Resident Evil 7, I'm giving the best intentions. Fuck, once again, as I said, it's the only Resident Evil we're going to probably get for 2 years, because we haven't had anything really since Revelations 2. So, might as well take what you got and be grateful. And, you know, I mean, you can sit there and complain all you want, but...
In the vibe of video games, still sort of in the vibe of video games, because you said Silent Hill, that reminded me of the Silent Hill movie, which led me to something else. Did you see the Assassin's Creed movie?
I did. Did you see it?
No. Was it any good? It didn't really look that great to me.
Here's what it was. Remember
Okay,
Prince
this is
of Persia?
immediate no. This is immediate no. All right, yeah, go ahead.
Remember Prince of Persia?
Oh, yeah, I remember it.
It was kind of like the Prince of Persia, but better.
Oh, okay, so still just
it's not,
meh.
it wasn't bad. I would say it was still enjoyable. It's just one of those ones like, okay, like I kind of sat there and I was like...
Why is it PG-13 for starters?
Yeah, why is PG-13 for a super mature... Well, it's not really that mature rated game. I will say this, Assassin's Creed is one of those games that... It's like a borderline mature rated game. You know what I mean? There's some of those...
They say fuck a lot, I know that.
I think they do in like the... But they don't say in the past nearly as much.
Okay.
Like, I don't... You know what I mean? Like, because to me, Assassin's Creed, that's one of those kind of games that if you want to have your 10-year-old play a game, like, you know, that and Halo are those two kind of games. Like, yeah, just because they're rated mature doesn't really mean they're, like, super mature. You know what I mean? They're like, borderline.
My big thing with Assassin's Creed, my biggest hang-up is I don't give a fuck about this future shit.
That's the biggest downfall of the movie, is the future stuff's like half the movie.
Yeah, I figured it would be as much, because, like, okay, so we're just going to go back in time. People are going to be thrown off by the old-timey stuff, you know, so I had a feeling it was going to be that, and that's one of the things, that's my biggest hang-up, because when I first played Assassin's Creed, I was kind of like, wait, what the fuck? And I'll say that they did a good job of not advertising the fact that it's sort of a sci-fi game to an extent. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, wait, why is this all computer generated? What the oh, okay, so that's happening. All right.
Well, I think back in the original Assassin's Creed, I think the only reason why that future stuff was originally put in there is because they just did not want to have to deal with some fucking punk nerd going like, why the fuck do they have GPS in 1400s?
So fuck they said, guy. Well, that guy shouldn't be playing fucking video games. That's the same asshole who like complains about, okay, so you can get kicked off like a 3-story building in Dead or Alive and just keep on fighting. That's fucking fake. Of course it's fake. It's a fucking video game. It's
supposed to be fun.
You dumb cunt.
But exactly. Like I always thought that was the whole reason why, so they could explain menu systems and like warping and, you know, GPS and all that aspect of video games, which I love how you get something like Red Dead Redemption going back to that.
Don't fucking
Don't
answer.
have to explain
You know
what.
what it is?
Why does he have GPS? Who the fuck?
He has a good memory.
His horse has GPS.
John Marston has a fantastic memory. That's all it is.
And his horse is automatic. You know, you just give
Yeah.
him a carrot. Next thing you know, he takes you to wherever you want to go.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how I view it. Now, they don't need to come up with an excuse for everything. It's kind of, you know.
And that's the thing about Assassin's Creed. I remember by like 2 and 2 and 2.3 and all those ones like that, they started to get to the point where like the future stuff was like there for like 3 scenes in the game. They're like, okay, people don't like this as much. Let's just kind of, since we already started off with it, I guess we can't get rid of it just for the people who do like it. So let's just kind of keep it like on the back burner and have it there and like have 90% of the game focus, if not more, in the world. And that's cool. Where when we get to this movie, I mean, it's a movie, so I mean, if they focus a little bit more on it, that's not nearly as bad. But the downfall was that there was only about 5 scenes in the past, if that even.
I figured as much because
when they were in the past, it was cool, and I just kind of sat there and I had on like my hand list. I'm like, I just want to see if they have like the Assassin's Creed essentials. You know what I mean? Do they have the parkour kind of running around, and do they have the sword fighting? Do they have like the high jumps? Do they have, you know, things like assassinations and so on? And they had most of those elements in there, so that was cool. I mean, I'm not saying it was bad. And then, you know, when it gets back to the future, like, it does tie into the games. Because we went to see it with our buddy named Buddy, and he's, like, an expert on Assassin's Creed. And he's like, oh, yeah, this, and that, and they have all these elements and these characters from there. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
It's not the main guy from the game. It's a different guy, and this is still takes place in the same world, kind of? Or?
Yeah, exactly. So It's kind of like, it's connected somehow, some way.
So it's in the world of Assassin's Creed, yet it's a different guy. So it's kind of like down the road, kind of.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that. So it is kind of connected somehow, some way. Or at least that's what I kind of was told. So it did have those elements, but the thing about this movie is even though this movie looked like it had this humongous budget and everything like that, I think it actually had a much lower budget. Because this sounds so weird. Everything in the movie was like smoky and foggy, which always just goes to me, it's like, oh, that's an easy way to make the details not have to look nearly as good. Okay, so we're going to show old-timey Spain. We'll throw some dust everywhere, and smoke, and smoke.
They're just going to like, you know.
It's all CG smoke, so I don't know why I'm making these motions like they're actually stirring up the dust.
Take more work. The thing is, they just go to like a Ren fair. It's like, all right, go now.
Well, it's weird because, like, you know, the first thing, like the first time you ever play like Assassin's Creed, and especially the old ones, but I think probably this is just the same for the new ones. You know, you stand up there and it's like you get on top of a building and you're like, holy fuck! And I remember like in the 360 days and PS3. It was almost like you could stay up there for a while because you're like, look how I can see this humongous town and I can go to anywhere in it. It's like fucking mind blowing, you know?
Yeah.
This movie did not have that ginormous aspect. It was kind of weird. It was all like small and.
That's the problem with most video game movies is they're afraid to actually. Well, here's the thing. I feel like the ones that most video game movies don't want to put a lot of money into it, and the ones that do want to put a lot of money into it. Maybe don't really understand the game so much, like
Resident Evil, because Resident Evil's probably the one that gets the most amount of money put into them, but they know those movies will make a lot. Movies will make a lot of money.
I wasn't going to say Resident Evil. That's a good example, but like at the same time, I think Resident Evil by this point has done its own thing, and I'm not really a diehard. There's a time I'll say this. You could hear it on this podcast actually. There's a time I hated the Resident Evil movies. I'm not even a Resident Evil fan. It's just more I hated the movies because. They're just they seem so inconsequential to one another because it's just like, okay, this first one takes place parallel to the game. Oh, that's kind of cool. Fuck that. No, next one. Going on to the second one. Like, okay, this second one's okay. I kind of like the idea it was parallel to the game, but whatever. Mm-hmm. And then the third one comes out. Oh, it doesn't fucking matter because a bomb. Because they have this whole thing like. There's a cover story, and oh, she's under the control of the bad guys, and all this stuff happens. So Raccoon City, you know, and then all of a sudden, all that stuff they dropped in at the very end doesn't fucking matter because the end of the world happened anyway.
Yeah.
And she could apparently, that mind control thing, I can just fucking shake that off, and it's by the same fucking writer. So it's one of those things like it just got really fucking dumb to me that none of them. But maybe who knows? I kind of stopped watching them, and I'm sure that like it's.
I think 4 and 5 are definitely a much better comeback. Mm-hmm. Like, they did get better in that period. Because this is how I feel. Number 1, I actually like number 1 quite a bit. That's a great movie. And maybe it just happens to be, it came out the perfect time. Like, I was fucking like 11 or 12 years old. Fucking super obsessed with Resident Evil. Probably only just got into it a couple years prior. So it came out like at the perfect time that it possibly could for myself. Mm-hmm. And I really like that one. And 2, when I remember seeing it in theaters, it was still like that jacked up, like, fucking Mountain Dew! Fucking Resident Evil time! And like, so I really enjoyed that one. And then I did get to a point where I started to become like the movie snob of like, you're kind of like post-teens, where you're like, you know, Resident Evil movies just aren't that good. If they really just captured the game, it'd be much better. And you know, I think there's a period in anybody's life where they all become a movie snob.
We
like,
kind of do, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like...
we both did at some
point.
point.
There was. I just feel it was like the late high school to like early 20s. I feel it was like the movie snob years, and maybe it was just because you get two in the movie, so you feel like you think you know more.
Yeah.
And then you just get to a point where you're like, fuck it, man. Let's just enjoy everything that we are grateful to be like blessed with from these fucking movie gods, and just like. It's okay, and then you get back, and then you watch Resident Evil, and you just watch them for what they are, and go, they don't have to be the fucking games. They just have, just throw me in some elements I know of the games, and give me something different, fine, whatever. And then they become great movies, they're fun. I mean, don't expect them to be like these like fantastic like stories like they are in the video games, but for the most part, like, I enjoy it. I can't wait for Resident Evil 6 to come out in theaters. I'm looking forward to that movie more than almost anything else next year. Well, not anything, but a lot of things. Not anything that involves Batman in it.
Oh, well, that one right there, but I'm at the point now, once I think I saw the trailer for 5 or whatever, I was at that point where I was just like, I don't care to see it, but I'm not going to be one of those people like, oh, it's so fucking dumb. Because at the time I was playing Resident Evil 4 and I wasn't really, I'm not an expert on it like you are. But at the same time, it was more of just, it wasn't even like, oh, it's not following the game. It's more of, it's just, none of these, they're all sequels. They have nothing to do with the other. You know what I mean? And that just seemed kind of dumb to me, especially since it was the same writer the whole time. But,
Paul
you know,
Anderson.
Yeah. And then, also, don't get me wrong, this is going to sound very fucking shitty and dumb, but it's kind of like, there's like, every so often you'll get that fucking nerd who like, Superman's so fake. It's like, no fucking shit, he's fake. That being said...
So is Jesus.
Yeah.
Let's all get this out.
Yeah, it's his birthday, we know, but someone had to fucking say it! You know? But Merry Christmas, folks. No, but there's the part where, like, in the second one, where it's just like, okay, 90-pound girl, fight 900-pound monster. Just, I want you two to fucking box. It's
yeah.
Like, I mean, it's one of those things, it's like... Granted, she wins, but that really seems so just silly to me. I don't know. Don't ask me why. It's just kind of. It's not one of those things like fight to the death because you know I want him to kill you. It was those things. I want you to prove you're better than that thing. And it's just like, I mean, granted, yeah, she does win, but it's like she kicks it in. I know she impales it by kicking it in to a fucking like sharp rod or whatever. But it was still just one of those things. Just sounds so dumb to me. Just like. You know, like, here's some like metal wax sticks to beat this thing. I don't know. I know that sounds like a dumb complaint, but it's just one of those things that really just stood out to me. I've never gotten over. Just like, how does that even like nearly a fair fucking fight?
Yeah, no, that is kind of it. But I think that's the thing, though, is if you just take things for what they are.
I know.
And you just go, hey.
They throw that cock on the table. You just say thank you. May I have another?
Yeah, exactly. Goddamn right, you should be grateful. Because here's the thing: at the end of the day, we could not have anything, and.
Yeah, I know.
We would never know. But going to Assassin's Creed, here's the thing. I'm not saying the movie's bad. It actually, and it's probably one of those ones, maybe the more you like Assassin's Creed, maybe the more you might like it, and stuff like that. Like, I did enjoy it. It just wasn't as amazing as it could be. And here's also the other stuff. This year's been kind of the comeback year for video game movies. Because, you know, in a sense, other than if you minus out Resident Evil and some of the straight-to-DVD ones, there really hasn't been a whole lot of video game movies in the last 3 or 4 years. It's been kind of like a dead zone.
You had the Warcraft movie.
Yeah, that's this year though.
Yeah,
I'm saying beforehand.
They kind of come in. They'll come in waves. There'll be like a few that kind of come out all at once, and then they'll.
Well, the thing was like by the late 2000s, there was a huge wave from about 95 or pretty much from Super Mario Brothers all the way up to about 98, and they got more and more and more, and then all of a sudden. They just kind of fell off the bandwagon, and then there's always been kind of straight-to-DVD ones. I'm not going to really count those ones nearly as much. Not saying that they're not good. It's just, in theater-wise, they've almost been kind of forgotten, except for Resident Evil. Resident Evil's been the one to come out. And other than that, though, I mean, like, in the last 6 years, just including this year, there really hasn't been a whole lot of video game movies. It kind of fell to the wayside because of comic book movies for the moment. Mm-hmm. I think that kind of took it over.
Well, it's the same. It's almost the same like fan bases to a certain extent. So
you think they would. You think they would kind of continue it? Well, that's where this year was kind of the comeback because you had Warcraft, which was really good, even though I never played Warcraft games. But the movie itself, I thought was really fun and really entertaining. Then you had Ratchet and Clank, which it was okay. It had its moments. I could see what they were doing. I just wish it wasn't nearly as kiddie for the fact that game series freaking edged out for its own audience. Why would the movie go backward? But maybe they had this idea that we should go back to the beginning.
To it.
Yeah. And so that tried, and then, you have Assassin's Creed, and then there was the other one. There was the Kingsglaive Final Fantasy 15 movie. Holy fuck. Mind-blowing how amazing that movie is. I mean, probably one of those ones, maybe not nearly as...
Did it come with the game, or did you buy it separately?
Mine came up because I got the rape edition of Final Fantasy where it came in the tin case, and it had the cool, 90s artwork on it and everything like that, and it came with the Blu-ray of that movie. And I popped that thing in once I finished Final Fantasy 15, and that really connects into the game well, which might make me go, if you didn't really play the game, the movie might not be nearly as... You almost be like, why do I care nearly as much if I didn't play the game? But it is kind of its own little separate story that does tie in, but not enough that you have to sort of play the game. But just
Jesse Pinkman's the one running the military or something?
Yeah, they got him as the main character if you watch the English one. So they have, which actually the English dub was actually really good. I just decided, I'm like, I'll throw that on, whatever, see if that's... And that one, it worked out well. But it was actually just, the graphics in it were, so fucking good. You're just looking at this, you're like, oh, dude, this is such the future of, fantasy movies right here. In a sense, it's because I started thinking about it while watching, why even fucking pay Robert Downey Jr. $50 million when you could just get somebody that you could pay $5 million and have, just a good name and job? Because here's the thing, for video games and things like that, you're not selling Robert Downey Jr., you're just selling Final Fantasy. I think in the future, once there's more and more gamers, not right now, the reason why we have to put Robert Downey Jr. in a movie is because...
He's trying to get rid of RDJ, that's all it is.
Well, not that. I don't got a problem with that. I just use it because he's a perfect example, because he's one of the most expensive actors, and the whole reason why you have to have him is that you couldn't just sell Iron Man with some no-name actor. That would get all the comic book fans maybe in, but you would never get your parents and grandparents and all those people in, and the people who don't care about comics, without having Robert Downey Jr. But I think in the future, this goes for video game movies especially, nobody gives a flying... here's the thing. Whenever you put an actor in video games, a famous actor, people flip the fuck out anyways, because it sort of ruins the experience. It almost, takes you out.
Hideo Kojima's in love with that.
Yeah.
He has his new game coming out. I think there's two people in that new game. There's the guy who plays... He's the guy that everybody loves from Walking Dead, and he was also in Boondock Saints. I forget his name.
Yeah, the guy with the down hair in Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
It's down hair, up hair.
Good way of remembering it, yeah. And then there's the guy, I don't remember his name, but he's the guy that played Hannibal in that show, and he was also the bad guy in Doctor Strange and the father in Rogue One.
Huh.
He's in that game.
See, to me, it's I'm not saying, here's the thing. It's one, I just think it should stick to voice actors, and, that's fine, because the thing about voice actors is, unless you get super into voice acting, that I don't feel like they kind of take you out the game. When you kind of have a full-on actor, especially when they put him in there with graphics and everything like that, it's different if it's a movie game. If it's 007, you know what I mean? That's fine. If it's something like a tie-in, that's okay. If it's a Lord of the Rings game or something like that, that's cool. But when it comes down to other games, I feel like it does kind of take it out. And I know some people like the actors, but I think for the most part, most people, they don't give a flying fuck. Just because you put in some slightly famous actor, that's not really going to affect the sales of a game. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing, is gamers, they buy games based on games. Or people that watch movies lots of times go to movies based on actors and who they know and like and so on. You know what I mean? If you're really into movies, you'll go on a concept alone, but that's the main thing there. So I think, let's say 20 years from now, maybe not even that long, but once mostly the majority of people are all gamers and so on in the world, why, if you're going to make a Final Fantasy movie or even a Resident Evil movie, you could make it all pure CG, save a ton of money, have more special effects than anything else, and at the end of the day, you don't have to... that $50 million you would have spent on an expensive actor could just finance the entire movie almost.
They did almost make... Not almost, actually. I'm not sure if you... I'll show you this thing if you haven't seen it. I'm not sure if you did. The guys who made the Ninja Turtles movie, the CG Ninja Turtles movie, and Astro Boy... That animation studio really wanted to do a Legend of Zelda movie. And they made a 2 minutes...
Is that the Majora's Mask thing?
No. They made a 2 minutes pitch for what a Legend of Zelda movie would be. And it looked kind of like the similar art style to the Ninja Turtles movie. It looked a little westernized, but you could still tell who was who and all that. Mm-hmm. And, ever since the Mario Brothers movie, Nintendo has been very, very protective of their stuff. So, we appreciate it, but... fuck off. So,
Just a note. Nintendo. Shigeru Miyamoto. Fuck off. He's just giving thumbs up, smiling.
with an autograph.
And a dick pic.
And a free copy of like whatever new Zelda game just came out.
Yeah, Mario Run.
Like, oh, all right, well, that was nice. This is before that. This had to be. I didn't. This has apparently been out for a while, but I found out about it just a few months ago. Yeah, it's literally you see a caravan going through a canyon and some Hyrulean guards, then like some different monsters, goblins, and just recognizable Zelda-like creatures come out. Ganon comes out. He looks a little younger, a little bit more like a lot more barrel-chested. Looks kind of like he looks kind of like the Ganondorf version of, I guess, the character that Patrick Stewart played in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Kind of younger, but kind of slick back, kind of barrel-chested kind of guy, sort of. Or kind of like Alfred from Beware the Batman. Mm-hmm. Something kind of like that, but younger and long red hair. And then, like, Zelda and Link come out.
Was this more like cartoony graphics, like Ninja Turtles?
This was cartoony graphics like the Ninja Turtles.
It wasn't like Final Fantasy, like realistic graphics.
It was very cartoony, and it very much fit that same style the Ninja Turtles movie was. And then you see Zelda and Link get out of the caravan, start fighting off these monsters, then it ends. It's like a 2-3 minute video, and it's interesting. It's like it's kind of one of those things that kind of trips you out sometimes. Like as a fanboy, it kind of is a fanboy of some of this stuff. It trips me out when I think about there is a script to a Cowboy Bebop movie sitting somewhere in a filing cabinet somewhere in 20th Century Fox.
Yeah.
Or there is these guys had to at least have a story outline before just jumping in to do. Oh yeah, we're just going to do like this animated short, which probably cost thousands of dollars. Fuck no, they had at least a story outline before they presented that to Nintendo. Before Nintendo said "fuck off," here's a dick pic. Yeah. So it's one of those things that kind of just trips me out, going like, what could have been, Mm-hmm. That's why, but I am at this point now where when I think about video game movies, that's why I think the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, it should literally just be all CG. They want to do a hybrid, but which we didn't even talk about that. Dave Miller, Chris Miller, is it Chris Miller? The guy who did Deadpool. He's not directing it, but he's an executive producer. But he's a head of Blur Studios, which is an animation company, mm-hmm. and one of his main guys is directing the movie.
Huh, that's pretty cool.
So that right there is like interesting. It's like it's not a well-known name or anything, but the fact that, like, okay, I trust this guy. You all like Deadpool, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those things that once you actually kind of got his name as an executive producer and one of his main guys on it, that gives you hope. And it's somebody who has like experience in animation. I'm just glad to know it's like someone who worked on the Smurfs.
Yeah, exactly. Because you don't want that
Which I got a feeling it's going to be kind of like Alvin and the Chipmunks meets Transformers. I got a feeling it's going to be something like that. Yeah. But I'm hoping for the best.
Maybe something kind of like how the Ratchet and Clank one was.
I'm assuming it will be something like that. I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping it's kind of... people say, apparently, I thought we were being, like, original. We're like, get Edgar Wright to do it! But apparently there's a petition, a bunch of people saying Edgar Wright.
For Sonic?
For Sonic, yeah.
Huh.
But, I don't know. I just think that he because Scott Pilgrim shows he knows video games.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's a good choice there.
But I think we will reach that point where people will be more okay with CG and not so thrown off by CG.
Well, I think that's sort of it, because, like, it's one of those ones, I've always been thrown off by, not really thrown off by CG. It's weird. It's like, there was a time period where it's like, no, each one's in their own separate place. CG's for video games, live action's for movies. You don't combine the two together. Mm-hmm. And I know nowadays we've kind of got to the point, but, I watched something like that Final Fantasy one, and it's like, dude, they are, like, so close. They are so close to saying, why the fuck do we even need an actor anymore? That was so damn close.
That's initially why they started Square Studios. And then that went under because Spirits Within didn't do nearly as good as they hoped for.
Yeah, because Spirits Within's kind of like the start. And then you have Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Even though it's got a little bit more of an anime look, it still has that pretty hyper-realistic look. And then Kingsgrave is just like, it takes that Spirits Within and the Advent Children and just goes like so far to the next level. It is mind-blowing how good that movie looks. It looks so amazing. And I just kind of looked at it like, dude, this is right here. Like, dude, you could make the movie for so much cheaper just by doing it all in this style. And I just think of, like, for video game movies, I think that's, like, the perfect place to, like, test them all out on. It's just make, they got Final Fantasy. We'll keep making more like that. And the thing about that one I felt really nice, too, is that it did feel a lot more like Final Fantasy. I guess because the Spirits of Finn, I think the reason why, if they would have just made that feel just really Final Fantasy in the beginning instead of trying to do some sci-fi movie, because it's a cool movie, but I think it threw everybody off at the moment because it's like, oh, well, that's not what Final Fantasy is about. There's no summons, there's no like magic or anything like that.
I think it's because like it seemed kind of like it was trying to be sort of like alien. Like, well, how do we reach to Americans? Well, not doing the shit we usually do. So I think that was most of the way, and that still didn't work. So, you know.
Well, it's funny because this Kingsglaive one, you look at this movie, you're like, this thing should have went to theaters. It's like it would have been perfect.
It got a limited release. Like
yeah, but that's not like really going to theaters.
Yeah,
that, just because you go to New York and L.A. I mean, like it should have been like Spirits of Finn where you could have seen it anywhere. Mm-hmm. Well, Spirits of Finn played at like a 5, cinema theater back in the day. Go figure.
Mm-hmm.
So. But I just look at that, I'm like, dude, that's such the way to go with these video game movies. Too bad that like this year's kind of been. I was thinking, Kingsglaive's the only one that I will say it's like, oh, that's a fucking amazing movie. Well, actually, Warcraft was pretty darn good too.
The thing is, I know that a real like because how do I put it? Because I know that you and me, there are video game movies we both like, but but you know what I mean when I say we're still waiting on, I guess, the real game changer video game movie.
Well, the thing is, me and you, we really like them, but what I want is there needs to be the one that's like. The Iron Man.
Or the Dark Knight.
Or the Dark Knight, where it's just like, oh fuck, everybody and their mom has to go out and see this, and people just love it. Like those are the two best examples, because they kind of came out at the same time. Dark Knight and Iron Man, that in a sense changed both Marvel and DC, like, and almost legitimized both of them.
That almost put them on the certain paths they all went down, because Iron Man, I think, is, take Iron Man out and make that, like, take away most of the humor to that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people really give a shit. I think it's Robert Downey Jr. really that kind of really sell. I mean, don't get me wrong, Jeff Bridges and
there's a lot of people in it, but
Jeff Bridges and Terrence Howard, like, they all do a good job in that movie. But I think it's really just the humor and kind of how lighthearted, because I think so many superhero movies, they were lighthearted before, but they didn't have so much humor, and they didn't have like a character like Tony Stark who was just like spitting one-liners out so frequently, but they actually were funny. They kind of drive it into the, like you said, they kind of drive it into the ground a little bit in Iron Man 2 and Avengers.
Yeah, Iron Man 2 not nearly as bad as actually Avengers.
I like Avengers so much more than Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 is my least favorite of all the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I think just because I think that movie should have just been going, like, we're getting into the action. There's just a lot of him just hanging out, just contemplating what he's going to do with the rest of his life. What is life? And they're trying to do the demon in the bottle story without actually showing him drinking a whole lot. So
yeah,
and that's just kind of like, just have more punching. That's all you could have really needed. But yeah, it's one of those things that I think that where's it going with this? Both those kind of said, because Dark Knight's like, they like our shit gritty, and then Iron Man was like, they like our shit kind of funny and lighthearted.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of had two different paths. Because I went back and because I was reading like the Before Watchmen comics, because they came on sale a couple months ago or something like that, and those things are fucking amazing. So I was watching Watchmen again, the movie. Every time I throw that one on, I'm like, dude, this is like one of the most perfect movies. I would say like one of the top 10 most perfect movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
Funny thing is, because you were so against. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus here.
When it first came out in the trailer, because I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
Because that was that point when you were kind of like, they need to stop making comic book movies because they usually suck. They don't catch the spirit of the comics. You're that guy just for
I was like that was like during
for a year maybe.
Yeah, if maybe not. I feel like that period is actually longer when I think about it in hindsight.
And all I did, I just like, I don't think that this could be that good of a movie, whatever. Then I literally like, I just want to show you this one scene, and I show you the scene where, like, comedian fights spoilers Ozymandias at the beginning. And the whole, like, opening credits, like, that actually looks kind of cool,
And then you let me borrow it, and I sat down and watched it. I'm like, well, that's fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the director's cut one. And then I went out and bought, like, the super extreme, like, ultimate cut version that adds, like, another half an hour into it. So it makes the movie, like, 3.5+ hours or something like that. And that one alone, it's like, it would be the version it'd be kind of weird to show to someone who didn't know what Watchmen was, because they're like, why is there pirate animation in between all this stuff?
Yeah,
but I think for the person who likes the book, it's like, oh, dude, it's so good. But when I watch that movie, every single time, it's just like, it is literally one of those movies. There was absolutely nothing wrong with that movie, and it's just like so good all the way through. I feel like everybody they pick for it's like ultimately perfect. Like, there was so much great stuff. It blows my mind every single time I watch it. And I've probably only seen it maybe 5 times because of how long it is. But just every time I watch it, I just go, dude, this is probably. I still think that's actually my ultimate favorite comic book movie of all time. I think that one, by far, is just it captures it as perfect as possible for a live action movie.
Well, it's one of those things. I remember seeing it, and I remember like hearing mixed things about it, then going to see it, and then just really liking it. And like, I'm okay with the ending they changed.
I actually like the ending more in the movie
because it's one of those things like, where's Rorschach going? Down to 7-Eleven. Why? You get a Slurpee. It's fucking snowing outside. You know Rorschach.
I love how he just kind of like walks out. Like, what was he expecting? He's like fucking on Antarctica.
And I like how they kind of get them. They kind of give him like that moment
where he knows he's gonna die, but he's just like, fuck.
He does it, but it seems in the comic it seems so much quicker. In the comic it seems so much quicker.
Like, where you going to get a Slurpee? You're gonna go get a fucking Slurpee.
You know, like it's one of those things like. It happens. It feels because you're reading it. It feels like it goes by so much quicker. But the combination of the music and him walking, and he says like, he says like, oh, you suddenly picked it. Now you suddenly give a damn about humanity. Then he pulls off like his mask. He says, what do you? And he's like trying not to cry. He says, what are you waiting for? Do it. Then he just like looks at him.
Like, the man's like, whatever.
No, he looks at him like he really doesn't want to.
Yeah.
He doesn't really know how to convey it. He's just like, do it! He explodes. And that's for people. People don't like Night Owl falling to his knees screaming.
Well, that's like his like only buddy, really.
And I understand that part. Like, I mean, I've heard like critics and writers complain about that. People who I respect and whose opinions I value complain about that part. But I
think that is great because to me it's like, that's Dan's ultimate buddy. Like, at the end of the day, because, you know, Rorschach is, like, the friend that, like...
He's the shitty friend.
He's that shitty friend that, like, you get along really good with, and then, like, everybody else is like, dude, why do you hang up that guy? He's a fucking asshole. He's like, well, you know, he's pretty cool, and he's hard to defend, but, you know...
Yeah, and, like, he even has, like... That was just, like... Cause it was one of those things, like, they just assumed he died out in the snow, and it was just, like, I kind of prefer that he at least get, like, someone kind of cared a little bit.
Because the guy's like, where'd he go? Who fuck knows? 7-Eleven, probably.
Let's fuck!
Yeah, just keep going.
Because that's the thing. There, he was that. Like, I heard Robert C. Cargill, who's someone Robert Cargill, who I really respect. I heard him talk about that in like a podcast one time, and saying like the thing about that scene is it's meant to be so much more tragic in the comic because while they're busy fucking, he dies in the snow and no one cares. Now I understand the tragedy of it, but at the same exact time, I feel like they would care. You know?
Nobody's just gonna. Obviously, somebody would be like, why is Rorschach just fucking walking out into the fucking Antarctic?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dan already knows he doesn't have the right kind of uniform to be out there anyways. He tried to offer something better.
There's also, like, that thing, like, people, because, you know, it's one of those things people always, like, down on Zack Snyder. And I would
say that's about the only thing in the movie I could see if the couple, and it's not that many moments, but if the couple moments of, like, the slow motion thing, I can see if that sort of bothered you, because that's almost the one thing you kind of go, maybe you should pull back just a little bit on that. But once again, I'm not going to say that's going to ruin it. That's just one of those ones, like, it reminds me like he's trying to, like, slap his trademark in there.
Yeah, which I could see him pulling back on like, here's the thing about Zack Snyder. I mean, people, if he's not their favorite director or they don't like him, fine, whatever, everybody has their own taste. But I feel like people are just looking to rip on him for, like, whatever reason by this point, because, all right, he came out with, you know, Dawn of the Dead, which is both a movie neither of us really care for that much.
But a lot of people do like it a lot.
But everyone else seems to love it. Like, I don't really care for the remake that much. The gore and the violence is good.
Yeah, that's what I say. Actually, all the stuff Zack Snyder does, fantastic. I just don't like the script. And so
it's too bad because it's by James Gunn, which is too bad.
Yeah, it's too bad because, you know, he's done other cool stuff. Like, you know, he worked on with Lollipop Chainsaw, like Suda 51.
And who knows, maybe like that thing got script doctored to death for all we know.
Yeah, for all we know, maybe that's what happened to it. But I just don't like, that's what I don't like about it, is the script.
And then, like, you know, he goes and does 300, which when it came out, everybody was just like standing up, jerking off to how fucking manly this movie is. Yeah. And then all it took was just like literally a year or 2 years later for everybody to say, you know what, that movie's totally fucking stupid, and it's actually a bunch of right-wing Republican propaganda. And it's just like, it's weird how people can almost switch like that. Because 300 wants to be one of those movies that everybody was fucking like, you get 300? Motherfucker, I got the 3-disc edition, dude! Fuck yeah, I'm trying to go Leonidas, bro! And then, like, you know, now it's like, if you bring up 300, people are like, oh, fucking 300.
Like, what are you, gay and, like, Republican?
Yeah.
What, you're gonna go one of those parties out in the middle of, like, California with, like, Richard Nixon and fucking circle jerk for all night while you get drunk?
Where you dress up, like, in goat masks and, like, eyes wide shut kind of party, whatever that thing, like...
Whatever that Republican thing was that they go out in the middle of the woods once a year.
Yeah, like
and get shit-faced drunk and then like fuck each
like
other.
old-timey like old-timey like pagan tradition shit.
Yeah, just one of those weird things where it's like, oh, okay.
We set a tree on fire, we stand around and start jerking off.
Ain't nothing gay about it.
Well, that's you look into some of the old like Christmas, like some of the stuff Christmas traditions come from, like pagan combined with other stuff, which I don't all remember. A lot of it's like the whole thing. As far from what I know, from this thing I can't say I did a whole lot of research. It was just like a little like a podcast I heard somewhere. They're talking about some of those traditions, like the tree. One aspect of the tree is just like, you know what? Everyone's gonna die. It's fucking winter. So you know what you gotta do? You gotta fuck a lot. Stay hard like a fucking tree, you know? So that is kind of like, this is our fuck tree right here, bro, you know? Let's throw some fucking lights on it, you know? That's kind of what it was all about. That's where the whole thing with the tree comes from. And apparently mistletoe, this is gonna sound like, where the fuck did you hear this? But this is just stuff I've overheard. Who knows? Maybe it's varied from person to person. I've overheard mistletoe was representation of jizz from a god. So it's just like, oh, going to the mistletoe, you fuck under the mistletoe, and then they like lowered it down, like how we just start with kissing, you see where you go from there.
Weird things like that. Almost pagan though, and whenever I hear that word, because sometimes it's used by mostly Christians, it's kind of go, oh, fucking Norse pagan faggots. You know what I mean? It's almost like, it's kind of like a bad slang term. I mean, people kind of like embrace it now, just like other, you know, terms, but it really is like a very like negative term to use to be like
pagan for life, bro.
Yeah, people pretty much like do that. It's just like it's kind of like it's like the old like nigga. When you get down to it,
yo, what's up, my pagan?
Yeah, what's up, my pagan? Oh, will that fucking Christian just call you pagan? Oh, fuck it. You gotta fuck him up now. No, because that's almost how it is. Like,
pagan, please.
Like, pagan's not really a good term, like, for anybody who's kind of, like, of the North side.
Pagan or Babylonian or whatever. Like,
this actually just kind of reminds me really quickly. I just want to say this, because this thing made me laugh so hard. There was this book I was reading called Black Metal. Like, I've heard about it for a while. It's a comic book one. About these, like, two little black metal kids that pretty much were born of, you know, a Norse god, and now they're living in the world and whatnot. But whatever. There's this part where like they have this like adoptive mom and she's like taking them around. It's like, oh, we need to go get you some new clothes for, you know, the Easter party coming up or whatever. And the two brothers just look. They go, we don't really go in for the new trendy gods. We're all about the old ones. I'm like, oh my god. Anytime somebody now asks me if you believe in Jesus or believe in like Christianity and stuff, I go, yeah, I don't really go in for the new trendy deities. You know, I'm not really into that.
You got a hammer? I can go with that.
So it's one of those things. I thought that was fucking hilarious. But I guess what this all roundabout thing was going from was like, I guess the video game movies. Let's see, where are we at? CG and the video game movies and all that kind of stuff.
Scott Snyder. Or Zack Snyder.
Oh yeah, Scott Snyder. We went fucking around the world with all stuff. Whatever. Watchmen was amazing. I don't care what people say. And video game movies, I just think that it is getting to that point where like you almost could just do full CG for some of these things, and I think that it could work out. I know it's always still a hard sell to do serious CG. People will take Pixar CG any day of the week. That's where something maybe like Sonic the Hedgehog would do maybe fun. Yeah, I still feel like Sonic the Hedgehog is still going to be a hard sell. Well, it's not going to work the same as like a Pixar movie where they're like, hey, come see, you know.
One what I would do, I mean, no one's asking me, and I'm not up for the job, so it doesn't really fucking matter. Because it's like, well, what I would do, you know. But I honestly feel like if you want to do Sonic, you don't go like. I think the best way to go about it, in all honesty, would be like something like Guardians of the Galaxy, like that kind of tone,
that kind of tone and vibe.
Maybe a Scott Pilgrim kind of tone and vibe as well. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think, because you know, I mean, truth is, even a lot of Sonic fans by this point, like. All right, you got you know Sonic fans like you and me, and then you got the guys who like are obsessed with Sonic to a level of like, well, here's my own OC, and here's I made a backstory for Blaze the Cat or Big the Cat or you know all these other like I know a lot of these weird obscure characters, but like so many people just hate the fucking characters other than Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Robotnik. They hate nearly everybody else.
Yeah, there's those kind of people, and I don't. That's like not like a Sonic purist, but.
But I'm not saying there's Sonic purists or anything. But I'm just saying like it's almost like. It's a tricky sale. I think just, you know, don't do the thing. Like, they're going to throw in a kid's sidekick more than likely. It's probably going to be a kid. I'm guessing. This is just my guess of what it's going to be.
Be like Sonic X, sort of.
I imagine it's going to be something like Sonic X. A kid stumbles across a hedgehog, and then he helps the hedgehog, and then he helps the kid talk to the girl, and at some point he's gonna be hiding him in his room, and then like I imagine something like that, and maybe Robotnik might not even chase him into the other world. Robotnik might already be part of like the human world or whatever. Just like what I'm like.
Yeah, it's not gonna be a Mobius. It's not gonna be
Sonic got there through like a time warp or something. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. There's so many things you could do with it, but I don't think they're gonna do the things they should do. We'll see what happens, and I don't think it's gonna be like the director or what's his name. Chris Miller fucking it up. I just think it's just such
the producers somehow, some way.
It's just such a weird. Really, when it gets down to it, how do you? I think you can market Sonic pretty well, but I think the best time would have been probably like 2002 or 2003.
See, this is why they need a Japanese director to kind of come in, because the upside to Japan is generally when it comes to movies and things like that, the director actually has full control, unlike in the U.S., where sometimes the producers can step in and throw in their change to kind of change things around. Like when they pick a director in Japan and like their creative team, they're like, no, we picked that for a reason because we want what they got. This works on animes too. That's why like you get a certain person in there, like they'll choose somebody. It's like no, they actually make the creative fucking decisions. There's not like a producer at the last second goes, no, could you put my teenage sidekick? Or my teenage sidekick. Like that sounds even creepier. My teenage daughter is the sidekick.
Yeah.
So I feel that's almost what you need, and I look at something like that Square company, I hope that Kingsglaive makes a lot of money. I don't know if it really necessarily will because of the way it was marketed, but if you could get that company to fucking churn out a fucking game, or a fucking movie every other year at least, of a video game, like if they could just take popular stuff, like make a deal with Sega. Let them do the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Make a deal with some other companies in there too, and like go. You know what I mean? Like something that might work right now because it's popular with the kids is make a Dark Souls movie. Make the Dark Souls movie.
Yeah,
that will sell well. Because going back, this goes all back to.
And what you should do if you do a Dark Souls movie, just because I never played a Dark Souls game, but I know it has this big extensive lore. Just make a story that takes place within the Dark Souls world, rather than trying to compact this whole 9 hour, how many hours that game is, into one movie.
Well, yeah, but most of the games hit. Run away, hit, run away, go drop your experience off.
There is like some weird, big, convoluted like plot.
But I know there's a lot of story and stuff in there, but I mean like, just because the game sometimes takes 20 hours doesn't mean there's like 20 hours of story. It's probably like a couple hours of story, so enough for a movie.
Sometimes you'd be surprised though. I one time just went on marathon mode watching Metal Gear Solid 1, and that was like a 4-hour movie without the gameplay.
Yeah, sometimes some of those ones can be quite long actually. But here, you go to Assassin's Creed. The weird thing about it, I just feel like they actually didn't put enough effort in that movie. It looked like they made it out like they were throwing down some big bucks. I mean, it was coming out around Christmas for Christ's sake, and all of a sudden it's like, oh nope, we're not. It's almost like it was kind of like a B movie. I don't mean that in a bad way. Like there's nothing wrong with B movies, but I just say a B movie for the fact that they didn't go the full distance. Once again, it was made with pretty much the same. I don't know if exactly this how it was, but it feels like it was made with the same budget that you would have made Doom, or you would have made Silent Hill, or you would have made like one of the earlier Resident Evils with. Like it felt like it had about that amount of enthusiasm put into it, which I think for something as big as Assassin's Creed, you should have did that extra step.
Well, it's something I noticed that when they do take a chance on when they do take a chance on a movie and throw a lot of money into it, it usually doesn't get a lot back. Maybe, I don't know how expensive the Resident Evil movies are by this point. They look like they probably amped up their game a little bit on the pricing.
Well, because they know they can make the money back on those ones.
But I think that something like, I'm just going down the list of all the recent video game movies. And Hitman, I didn't see the second one. Hitman, fucking Assassin's Creed looked like it was going to be kind of cheap. The ones that looked kind of expensive to me, maybe you can tell me otherwise. I didn't see Warcraft, but Warcraft and Prince of Persia, and neither of those did really good in theaters.
Yeah, Warcraft had the feel like Lord of the Rings. It was really good looking. Like in that movie, once again, that's a game I never played. I never really even cared for Warcraft. Never jumped out at me. I'm not saying anything against it, but it wasn't for me. I was playing Command and Conquer. You know what I mean? I want some fucking Soviets and some allies fighting each other, not a bunch of like orcs and elves and shit. No. At the end of the day, that's what I wanted. But the movie itself, like I thought it was really cool and really fun. And Assassin's Creed, it's not that it's bad. Here's the thing, it's worth watching. It's just not as cool as it could have been. And then the other thing too is like, when they go back in time, I'm glad they actually keep it all in Spanish. When they are back in time, it's all subtitled the whole way. Like, that's cool. That's how it should be. But they do the thing when he's fighting, it'll be like, okay, he's fucking fighting back in time, swinging the sword back and forth, and then it shows him in like the gay, like, whatever.
The Matrix arm thing.
Yeah, the Matrix, and he's like fighting it, and it just constantly keeps cutting back to that. It's like, we get it. He's in that thing. The whole point of Assassin's Creed is we're supposed to forget about the future and focus on the past. You know what I mean? It's not about the future, it's about the past. And I just thought that the cutback back and forth was just like, why? You know what I mean? It's not like it's a CG version of him or he's wearing a mask or something and we have to see his face. It's like you can see his face the whole time. He's just wearing a hood.
Yeah, I don't know. That when I saw the trailer, I mean, I'm really not an Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, the trailer was like, "You ready, you 15-year-olds?"
Yeah, and then once I saw the PG-13 label on it, it's not even like it has to be R, but that right there, I know that we need as many seats as possible, you know?
Well, because PG-13, this is kind of the downfall a lot of times when they do it.
And I understand if it's a Marvel movie or
yeah,
DC,
well, that's fine with something like that, but like in a sense, when I see PG-13, especially when something's like it's an R-rated, mature-rated property, it just tells me they're not taking it serious.
That's how I felt about World War Z when I heard that was
when it's
PG-13.
all that says is, hey, we're not taking it that serious.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a bummer, but hopefully in the long run, they'll get those dialed in. I'm throwing out my money to all these video game movies. I've seen every single one this year. Well, there's some that go straight to DVD. I don't know if they're...
Did you see Hitman 47?
No, I didn't see any Hitman, sadly enough. I kind of always want to, because don't they have the other guy from Modesto?
Yeah,
Not
Timothy
Jeremy
Oliphant.
Renner, but
Timothy...
yeah. The other guy Jeremy Renner and that guy. I wonder if they went to school together.
I always wanted to say, like, me and James Calafieri, who was on the podcast some years back, we had a game show idea. It was called Timothy Oliphant or Josh Duhamel, and no one could ever get it right. It's like, okay, Hitman, Timothy Oliphant or Josh Duhamel? Josh Duhamel? No, that is wrong. It is Timothy Oliphant. That's the same guy. The next question, like, I don't know. They look so alike. I can't tell.
Well, there's a couple other video game movies I did see. Like, there's a Dead Rising, and I think a second Dead Rising that came out.
Yeah, that straight to Amazon thing.
I saw the DVD thing or whatever at the store.
Starring Rob Riggle.
Those are like those ones where it's like you want to like support it just because it's doing something, but it's like, is that just gonna be any good?
Well, I don't even like Dead Rising. That's like one of those.
Dead Rising 4.
Perfect.
I haven't played it yet, but I did read some reviews on Amazon, and I was kind of surprised because they actually made the game the way that we almost always talked about it. Because here's the thing, Dead Rising, amazing concept. I think the concept of the game is super far up there.
It is.
But too bad the games itself have always kind of been like, in a sense, you got the 72-hour window, you just got to survive. And I always felt like you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want in that 72 hours. If you want to stand in the bathroom and jerk off for 72 hours, you should be able to do that. If you want to go out there and
press Y over
just
and over.
murder until your heart's content, you should be able to do that. But they always found a way to be like, no, you got to save these civilians, and you got to bring them, and they're going to be retarded, so be prepared for that.
Because their escort missions like come this way, and they just go running off into a crowd.
Oh!
Yeah, it's just, and then like you get like the stupid fucking shows. I only played one. Then you get the stupid fucking phone call from Otis. You're like. And, like, if you didn't have the HD cables, it was hard to read the fucking text because it was tiny. And then on top of that, it would just be, like, the phone would just keep on ringing and ringing and ringing. Like, 3 paragraphs long of fucking dialogue come in while
you're being attacked.
By fucking zombies. So it's just, like... And then, like, you get across to a boss battle, and it's not made to handle, like, boss battles. It's made to handle one-on-one battles with zombies. With a whole bunch... Not one-on-one, but just fighting through a horde of zombies is what it's made for. It's not made to, like, take on, like, some Metal Gear Solid-style villain with a machine gun with unlimited ammo,
Yeah, I remember, because that was kind of a big thing there. And then even, like, in the second one, because I thought they would have fixed it by the second one, but the second one's like, no, your daughter has AIDS, or whatever, like...
Zombie AIDS, yeah.
So you gotta find a cure every 5 hours, or else she fucking dies, and then you have to restart. So it's just like, well, what's the... you're locking me down. And I always heard that Off the Record kind of fixed that for the second one, because you play as Frank West again, or whatever. And then Dead or Alive.
I heard the third
Dead
one's
Rising
better.
third, I heard it got better, but it still had those same elements. Well, number 4, unless you like all those elements, because that's the only time I saw negative reviews on it, because like, it doesn't have fucking escort mission, and it doesn't have boss battles that are ridiculous. No, number 4 is like, nope, no boss battles, no escort missions, and no... You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. You can do whatever you want to do.
Because I hated the escort missions. You didn't have to do the escort missions, but if you wanted like to get a good score, you had to do at least a couple escort missions.
Yeah, so it sounded like number 4 was like, no, it's literally just the game of whatever you want to be. There's missions. You can do them if you want. You don't have to do them.
I did like the part where just like it's some dad and is like some like total like straight-laced, shirt tucked in, glasses dad. She's like, "Come on, kids, we gotta kill us some scavengers now." But Dad, I don't want to. Quit being a pussy, son. This is what we gotta do. Like, I liked some of the villains you had to go against, but it was just like,
the downfall is it was like the battle mechanics.
It wasn't made for it. It's made to kind of run. It's made to just smash through a bunch of zombies and just run through. It's not really made to handle like these like really like long lasting Metal Gear Solid boss battles.
Well, the weird thing too is because the game's generally pretty darn realistic, just like the zombie part. Like, I feel like that's made to feel like, hey, if you were just running around in like George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead, this is kind of how it'd be. And then the boss battles would come in, and then it's like, now it's super over the top and stylish. And just because you have a gun,
chainsaw.
You have to shoot this clown 100 times in the head for him to die. It's like
and he's like juggling chainsaws on a unicycle, and he's on a roller coaster. Just like,
see, that was one of the things that kind of took me out, because it's like it did like a mix of being like a way over the top game and try to be a realistic game. And I think it should stay more being realistic, because I think that's what made it kind of cool. It's just like, oh, okay, I don't know. I think if they combined the concept of Dead Rising with Resident Evil, I think you could make one of the coolest games ever. Like, picture this. I thought about this the other day. Take the Resident Evil 2 and 3 storyline, and I say combine them together because they take place at the exact same time. They're both in Raccoon City. 3 just kind of takes place on the outside of 2, if that makes any sense. Like, 2 stories almost like in between 3's. But picture the Dead Rising engine, and it's like, it's all Raccoon City, and you just go around doing your Resident Evil 2 and 3 missions, and you start the game off, and you go, who do you want to be? Jill, Claire, Leon, or Carlos?
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool.
That'd be a pretty sweet game, like, combined with Dead Rising. Like, why not?
I think that'd be a good game. Yeah, it's just because,
Because then you could have, like, 1,000 zombies. Like, when you go outside, like, the Raccoon Police Department, there's just, like, thousands of zombies coming at you, if not more by now.
Well, another thing I hate about like Dead Rising was like you'd have to cut through that courtyard, and there'll be like the military. There'd be like those like convicts that escaped, listen to some like Limp Bizkit ripoff, and just like it had that total like that. Oh, here we go, kind of like part of the lyrics. Like, that was the cool thing to do. Like, I don't know what it was. If you're like in a rap metal band back in that time, and you're trying to be all hard, one of the coolest things to do, I guess, was get a very high pitched voice, like, oh shit. Being a white dude, I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a common thing.
But anyway, but it's like you'd kill those guys. It would take a minute. Like, finally, I killed these fucks. Now I'll get in their van and drive across this way. And then you come back up. Those same fucks, not even different. They just regenerate and go back around. Like, I am not. That was like my right through the line. Like, I'm not fighting these fucks every time I have to cross through this fucking courtyard.
I know, that was such a bummer. I don't know. I'm kind of like, I kind of want to get Dead Rising 4. One, I could use a new Xbox One game that just sits there since Gears of War 4. And it didn't come out on PlayStation, so. But, yeah, it's one of those ones. I'm glad it sounded like, to me, they took out all the problems. And hopefully it actually will be a legitimate game. Because once again, the concept's fantastic, but I don't know. Combine it with Resident Evil 2 and 3, and I think you'll have the ultimate game. But that's just me. Yeah. But that's probably a good place to leave off at.
Capcom don't give a fuck about us. They're not gonna listen.
No, they don't care. They'll be like, fuck you. You buy your Street Fighter 2017 pack. You want a Kuma, don't you? We'll pay your fucking $30. Huh? Dead or Alive does it. Guess what? We'll fucking do it. We'll take your fucking $600. Fucking take it. You seen how expensive Dead or Alive? It's like fucking $600 for that game.
Really?
If you,
I got core. I got the core for free because the PlayStation Network. With all this shit, it's like $600.
Well, it's like, okay, season 1, 2, and 3 are all like almost $100 a piece. I kid you fucking not. Like, you look at it like, holy fuck.
What happened to the days you just, what happened to the days,
fuck?
How about the days where you just like, you beat a couple modes and you unlock a new character?
Nope.
Can't do that no more?
I don't think so anymore. I think that was the downfall of the DLC. It's
I'm putting my foot down. There's some games I'm just not going to buy now. I ain't buying Street Fighter 5 for that very reason.
It sounds cool, like in the sense where, like, okay, you picture like Street Fighter Alpha 3, probably the best Street Fighter game there is. And it's almost like if somebody tried to sell you DLC back in the day, be like, hey, you know Street Fighter Alpha 3? Yeah, it's got like 40 characters on it? Like, yeah. Would you pay $10 more for like an extra 5 characters? Well, fuck yeah, I'd pay $10 more for guys. You could just download them around to your Dreamcast. Oh, dude, that sounds fucking badass. The concept sounds great, right? Except for the fact that, like, well, instead of having 40 characters, let's just put 18 characters on the game and then make them buy the other 20 characters and have them spend, not $10, have them spend like 3 times more than they would have normally paid for just Street Fighter Alpha in the first place. I think that's what bothers me so much.
That's the shit that's keeping me from buying fighting games right now.
And it's such a bummer too, because I love fighting games so much. It's just like, but whatever. No more bitching about that part. Yeah. Check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, cartoons, music, and more. Till then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And we will see you some other time.
Oh, before we go, I actually just want to give a quick shout out to Casa Mirth. We're on their holiday special, along with a bunch of other podcasts. Like, they got Lo-Fi on there, they got Paint It Black on there. So just want to give them a shout out and tell them thanks for having us on their show.
Do you know what number it is?
It's just it's the most recent episode, Casa Mirth Christmas special.
No, okay. Look up something that has Christmas and special.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Later, folks. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. And if you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. Won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week to Old Man Orange.